Ohio State gets an answer from the NCAA in regards to Palaie Gaoteote's waiver to play football this year, some keys to victory, and a way you can get your hands on officially licensed football jerseys with your favorite player's name on the back. All that and more in today's episode of Locked on Buckeyes.
You are Locked on Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked on Buckeyes, part of Locked on Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Friday, September the 10th in the year 2021. And no matter if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast or if you're watching us on YouTube or WKYC.com, I want to thank you for making Locked on Buckeyes a part of your day. On today's episode, we will go over some keys to victory and talk about a way that you can get your hands on official licensed jerseys that your favorite Buckeye football player's name might be on the back of. But before we get to any of that, Ohio State, you yourself, fans of the Ohio State Buckeyes, have been waiting for a very long time for an answer in regards to the waiver. In wondering if Palaie Gaoteote will be eligible to play the football this year. Well, the NCAA has answered the appeal, and the answer is no. There is no way right now. As it stands right now, Ohio State is planning to appeal to see what more they can do to get this thing done. But Palaie Gaoteote, his waiver to play the football this year has not been granted. Honestly, the entire time, even up until yesterday, when the announcement came out, I was curious. Many people are curious. They were unsure why the NCAA was not going through with the rule that they had just put into place earlier this year. The one-time transfer rule that allows for athletes, for players to transfer one time immediately. You're eligible, no questions asked. One-time transfer, as long as you let your school, you notify your school that you're currently at, that you're going to transfer by the date that is in the calendar, you're A-okay. That's not the case here. The entire time, up until literally just after the announcement came out from the NCAA, when Ryan Day announced that Palaie Gaoteote would not be able to play and eligible to play right now, I hadn't heard anything. I thought that he transferred after the date, but that wasn't the case. He transferred, and he had told USC that he was planning on transferring back in December, a very long time ago. The deadline for that to happen was July 1st. So what was the reason? Why in the world was there a holdup, and why did it take this long? This comes from, what I'm about to read to you, comes from bucknuts.com. Patrick Murphy, who I would love to have on the podcast at some point in time, put this in the article that he wrote in regards to Gaoteote. We're going to start calling him PG the Fourth. It's a whole lot easier to say, and he is the fourth in his name, in his family with the same name. I'm rolling with PG the Fourth. We called Washington Jr. last year during basketball season. We're calling Gaoteote PG the Fourth because it's a whole lot easier, and your boy likes abbreviations. So this right here comes right from an article from bucknuts.com. Quote, Gaoteote transferred from USC to Ohio State over the summer. Sources have informed Bucknuts that the waiver was denied because of an academic issue. One of the hiccups was certain credits not transferring from USC to OSU, end quote. I believe it was earlier this year in regards to when the transfer portal and everything was going around, and the NCAA said one-time transfer rule, that's A-okay with us. A former college basketball coach was on local sports talk radio, and he was talking about the transfer rule. And he was talking in regards to why the NCAA has players and makes players sit out 1 year. Well, that was the old rule. Sit out 1 year if they transfer to a school. It was all for academics, because even the NCAA knew sometimes credits don't transfer. Sometimes the credit that you get at one institution doesn't transfer to your next institution, and so you're having to work behind the 8 ball. You are behind from where you're supposed to be at that point in time. And I think it sounds like it's the same thing here. Credits not transferring, an academic issue, is part of the reason. That's the holdup or the hiccup in regards to the waiver going forward. I have seen some people say that the NCAA is out to get Ohio State. That is false. Ohio State, the brand, makes a lot of money for the NCAA. And why would they come out and try and take down one of their biggest brands? Doesn't make any sense. The NCAA is an organization. Yes, they are helping and assisting athletes to now they're helping them make money, but they're giving them a chance to not only go to college for free, some of them, not all, some of them, but also it allows them to play at a higher level than high school, a sport of their choosing if they're good enough to play said sport at the collegiate level. The NCAA does a lot of good. I don't knock the NCAA, and in this situation, they saw fit to hold him back and not allow him to transfer and be immediately eligible right now for academic reasons. Also, I have heard people say that this situation is similar to the J.R. Smith situation. I don't think they're similar at all. On the surface, without diving way too deep into the situation, on the surface, we see J.R. Smith, former basketball player, professional basketball player, never did anything in college, nothing at all. He went straight from high school to the National Basketball Association. In the association, he made millions of dollars. He's well off financially, and he wants to now go back to school, get a degree. He's liberal arts degree. Look it up, Google it. It's all over the place. He's getting a liberal arts degree and playing golf. And the NCAA said, yes. I don't find these two situations very similar. Yeah, you could say that the NCAA said yes to J.R. Smith and no to PG the fourth. But you look deeper, they're not similar, and I would not compare the two in an argument or a discussion with someone where you're trying to compare J.R. Smith to PG the fourth. They're not the same situations. They're not at all. The NCAA definitely knows that. Let's take one quick time out. When we come back, we will look at some keys to victory. I got a few written down, 3 or 4. We'll hit very, very quickly in regards to how Ohio State will beat the Oregon Ducks tomorrow. But first, check this out. If this is your first time checking out Locked On Buckeyes, I want to say welcome. Or if it's your first time in a long time, I want to say welcome back. Locked On Buckeyes drops a fresh new episode for you every Monday through Friday. And sometimes, like we are right now, we are live on the YouTube. So make sure you go to youtube.com or the YouTube app on your phone or your Fire Stick or your Roku or your smart television. And make sure you subscribe to Locked On Buckeyes so you don't miss a beat. Also, hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video is uploaded, and you'll also be notified when Jay goes live. Planning on doing a live post-game show after the game tomorrow, as well as doing a live show Monday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Both will probably be streamed on Twitter, but for sure they'll be on the YouTube. If you want to make sure you watch it live, go to the YouTube, search Locked On Buckeyes, hit that subscribe button and the bell so you are notified every time a new video starts on the channel. Keys to victory. Now, last week, Ohio State played Minnesota, the Golden Gophers. And many people looked at the Golden Gophers and said, this is going to be a breeze. And it was not so much the breeze many people thought it may have been. The Minnesota Golden Gophers, phenomenal rushing attack. The offensive line of Minnesota, seasoned, so they are doing things, and they're more of a well-oiled machine than you might think. And what do we find when we look at that game last week? The philosophy on defense was different than the philosophy on offense as far as the players that you're playing, how many guys you're playing, the rotation for the running backs. So it was, okay, Mayan Williams one series. The next series, I believe it was Master Teague. The next series, Trayvon Henderson. The next series, Marcus Crawley. Evan Pryor did not touch the field. I do think he'll touch the field, not this week, but I'm expecting him to touch the field against Tulsa and against Akron, possibly Nebraska. Possibly Rutgers, just throwing those names out there very quickly. But just saying, those are some games you might see all 5 running backs play. But as it stands right now, we saw that the running backs played 4 out of 5, four different running backs in the 4 first series of the game. On defense, 24 guys played on defense. When you think about that rotation, when you think about that, will we see more of that coming tomorrow? Will we see more of the same philosophy as far as personnel-wise coming up tomorrow? I don't think so. I think last week Ohio State knew against Minnesota that they could do some things with the offense. They could do some things with the personnel groupings. They could do some things in regards to how many guys they played because of who they were playing that they know they can't do tomorrow against Oregon and expect to win convincingly or expect to win the game at all. A few keys to victory very, very quickly. Communication on the offensive line. The offensive line last week was a very strong suit for the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think it wowed a lot of people. DeJuan Jones via Pro Football Focus, I believe his grade was like 94.4, and it was above 90. It was above 92. I want to say it was 93.4, 94.4. In the first game of the season, you're at right tackle, young man. You're next to a guy at right guard who's normally plays tackle. He's inside at guard, played guard last year, but now that's your running mate. That's your dog. That's your boy. I mean, that's your ride or die. We're in this thing together. And he's out there on an island doing a phenomenal job. Now, Oregon, different defense, different team, more sound, faster, more physical, all the things you want in a really good football team. Oregon has them. Communication from Petit Frere on the left side, all the way through to Jones on the right side. Communication on the offensive line is key. Now, you may be saying, Jay, well, communication is key because Kayvon Thibodeau is playing. That is still up in the air. Nobody knows if he's playing or not. That is still up in the air, a literal game time decision. It is up in the air. Communication along the offensive line is key right now because as we heard Jared Denny say just yesterday, there's going to be a good pass rusher, a good edge defender on both sides of the line. Doesn't matter what side it is. They got good guys there. The front seven is good for Oregon. Communication on the offensive line is going to be very, very key for Ohio State tomorrow. Next up, red zone scoring. Now, we did see last week, I don't know if it was the first drive, but I know at some portion in the first half, I believe, there was a kick made. I almost said kickoff. It was a kickoff in the first half, but it was a kick attempted and made by Noah Ruggles, and shortly after that, I think it was Tuesday's practice, Monday or Tuesday, he lost his black stripe after that game. Now, he also came out and said, Noah Ruggles is a grad transfer for North Carolina. He said when it came to transferring, Ohio State was the option for him. It was the only place he was going to go. That's great to hear. It's also great to see that during a battle in the offseason, to see who the kicker would be when both guys were inconsistent. You're in the rain, you're on the road in a sold-out crowd at night, season opener, new colors you're wearing, an atmosphere you're not used to being in Minnesota, and you make the first kick you attempt. That's amazing. However, in games like tomorrow, against teams like Oregon, number 13 team in the country, you need to make sure, absolutely make sure that scoring in the red zone is the key. Now, I'm not saying scoring field goals. I mean touchdowns. Because 7 is always going to be greater than 3. I understand some of you, a lot of you, we have all gone to school, and we know how to count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is greater than 3. 6 is greater than 3. But we're assuming we're going to make sure now we're going to kind of, I'm going to say talk it into existence. We're going to say, yes, we're making the PAT. 7 is greater than 3. In games like this, those types of red zone scoring opportunities, yes, scoring 3 points is amazing, but ultimately you want to get 7. Think back to the Clemson semifinal game in the playoff in 2019. We all remember how that went. 3 separate trips to the red zone. Field goal, field goal, field goal. If everything stayed the same, even with the interception at the end, the Shaun Wade targeting call, the fumble that was not ruled a fumble, if everything stayed the same, and Ohio State made those converted those red zone opportunities into touchdowns, not field goals, the outcome of that game is different. Red zone scoring is very big tomorrow. And ultimately, I know Ohio State's going to open up the playbook. That's expected. But honestly, the last thing I got for you, simple is good. We heard this a couple days ago with Big Ten Ben Stevens as we were talking about what he saw, what he liked from Ohio State in their game number 1 against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. We talked about how simple is good offensively. Ryan is going to open up the playbook, but he knows the easiest way to get a quarterback, seasoned quarterback, a new quarterback, doesn't really matter. To get them acclimated to the game, keep things simple. Simple is good. Manipulating the defense via simple maneuvers pre-snap is good. Communication on the offensive line, red zone scoring, touchdowns greater than field goals, 7 greater than 3. And also simple is good with the offense. 3 keys that I didn't mean to go all offense. I know defensively, RPO stuff we're going to see from Oregon. Didn't really realize I had all offensive stuff that I just read off. Disciplined. Eye discipline is huge. Just staying in your lane. Let's go that part. Stay in your lane. Because if you don't stay in your lane, if you don't stick with your job, that means you're going to be possibly doing somebody else's job. Nobody's doing your job. And ultimately, that could be the gap. That could be the hole or the path. CJ Verdell, Anthony Brown, whoever has the ball in their hands tomorrow, that could be the path and the view they need to take a trip to pay dirt. A few keys to victory right there. Got to take one more timeout when we come back. We have all wanted to possibly have an officially licensed jersey with a football player's name on the back. Well, we have a way that you might be able to get your hands on your favorite player's jersey. But first, check this out. And as we wrap up today's episode here of Locked On Buckeyes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. I want to thank everybody watching right now, watching live on the YouTube. This was not planned, but sometimes live is very, very good. And I am glad you're watching us live right now as we're preparing for tomorrow's game against the Oregon Ducks. One thing we have all loved, we all like, are jerseys. Now, you might not be a lover of jerseys. I love jerseys. I have a closet full of jerseys. I have not a Reggie Miller. I had a Reggie Miller when I was younger. That's no longer available. I don't have it anymore. I got an Allen Iverson jersey in my closet, the blue one. I like alternate jerseys. I have a Paul George gold jersey, Pacers, in my closet. I have a Jermaine O'Neal, literally 70s throwback jersey in my closet. I got a Michael Jordan jersey from the 80s, home white. I have a Michael Jordan warm-up, the 80s warm-up where they were really wearing a jacket type of short sleeve, button-up type of jacket that they're wearing, name on the back. I got that Jordan warm-up. I got Tracy McGrady gray with the blue pinstripes, Orlando Magic. I got that one. I got a closet full of jerseys. I even have my high school football jersey in my closet. Not supposed to have it, but your boy still has it, though. I like jerseys. I love jerseys, and one thing I have loved or I've been waiting for as a fan at Ohio State, I don't do the whole customizable thing. You can customize jerseys, put a name and a number on it, and make it seem like it's the real thing. I don't go that route. I don't. I want the official thing. I want the licensed jersey. And I want to make sure that, well, not saying this is why, but now, if I'm going to buy a jersey spending $120 on it, can a player that name is on the back of it, can he get a piece of the pie? Now they can. With the officially licensed agreement that was signed upon earlier this year, those players that opted into said agreement have an opportunity to make money off their name, image, and likeness due to with the licensing agreement. In part, one way they could do so is with their jersey. Now, the jersey sales are available on the official team website. Here are a few jerseys that are available that you can get right now, literally right now on the team website. Cam Brown, number 26. Reed Carrico, number 28. Not going to go through all of them, just a few. Emeka Egbuka, number 12, wide receiver. Dallas Gant, linebacker, number 19. Travion Henderson, number 32. If you are a fan of the Herbstreit family, yes, Kirk Herbstreit himself, his son, Zach Herbstreit, is a walk-on at Ohio State, number 89, a tight end. You can get his jersey. Donovan Jackson, number 74. Paris Johnston Jr., number 77. DeJuan Jones, number 79. Cameron Martinez, number 10. His jersey is available. Harry Miller, number 76, his jersey is available. Everybody loves CO2. Chris Olave, number 2, his jersey is available. Nicholas Petit-Frere, Kevon Pope, Evan Pryor, true freshman running back, number 21. Lathan Ransom, Jeremy Ruckert. Noah Ruggles, mentioned him earlier. The grad transfer from North Carolina. Guy Scott Jr., the converted tight end. Jake Seibert, the kicker, number 98. Bryson Shaw, 3 tackles last week. A couple touchdown-saving tackles, number 17. Cody Simon, number 30, is available. Cade Stover, backup tight end, number 16. Master Teague III, JT Tuamoloau, Ryan Watts, Garrett Wilson, Marcus Williamson, and last but not least, last week's starting center, and he could start this week, Mr. Luke Whippler. Those are just a few of the jerseys that are available on the official Ohio State team store. Now you don't have to go through the customizable route to get your players, your favorite. Well, some of them you don't have to go through. There were some that I didn't mention, didn't list off. I didn't go through the entire list, but there are some players you notice. Where is the quarterback? Where are some offensive linemen, some more defensive linemen? Where are some linebackers? Where are some more wide receivers? Those are just a few of those names that are available. You can see the full list on the team website and go there, check it out. You see a jersey you like, $120. If you want to go the customizable route because the player that you want, his name is not available, $120. So it's $120 for customizable, $120 for an officially licensed jersey with your favorite or one of your favorite players' names on the back. Now, tomorrow, some of you that may be going to the game, you might be like, yeah, I'll pick up a jersey. Maybe I'll wear it to the next one. Maybe some of you that are going to tomorrow's game, but you're going maybe to Tulsa or the Tulsa game or the Akron game. Why? Because the tickets are cheaper. You can get that, probably be at your home, on your doorstep, on your porch before the start of said game you are going to. Jerseys are here. I love jerseys. A lot of people love jerseys. Last week, didn't mean to hit the mic. Last week, Minnesota wore black, all black. Tomorrow, Oregon's wearing all white. An all white clean uniform is good, but those boys are making a trip to Columbus to lose. I am going with a 42-30 win for Ohio State. Now that's high. That's not covering the spread either. I do believe if Kayvon Thibodeau does not play, it's a 21-point win easily. I mean, if Ohio State gets up early, Oregon's not going to score. I think it'll be 42-30. We'll be closer, a lot closer than people think. Just like I thought last week's game was going to be closer, I do think this week's game will be closer early. I do think at some point Ohio State will blow it wide open, and then Oregon does to kind of get that and not cover the spread. So Ohio State does not cover the spread this week. Guys, this has been fun. Another live show in the books. Those of you that are listening right now via the podcast, the audio version, if you want to watch and consume live videos, shows here for the podcast, make sure you go to YouTube, search Locked On Buckeyes, hit that subscribe button and the bell so you're notified every time a new video is uploaded and every time Jay goes live. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at jsteven07. Thank you, everyone, for watching this live show on a Friday, the day before, not just 9/11, but the day before the Ohio State Buckeyes and Oregon Ducks battle it out in the shoe. Guys, I got to end the show with these two words because they're very, very important. Go Bucks!